Hey everyone, thank you so much for tuning in to My Mayhem. Make sure you subscribe to this channel, you like this video, and comment below. After you hear this story, I know you'll have some thoughts and some things that you'll want to say down in the comments. So today I'm here with a story time about the possibility of a brain tumor. Doesn't that sound crazy? I know. If this is your first time tuning in, I am the mother to one daughter. Her name is Rayleigh, and she is 1 year old, technically 17 months old. And this was my first pregnancy ever. I have never been pregnant before. Let's just get into the story. About a month after having Rayleigh, I ended up losing one of my medical insurances. So during the time of pregnancy and, well, really the month I gave birth, which was August, I had dual coverage, which means I had two different medical insurances that were covering me and taking care of me. So a month afterwards, I lost one of them. And with losing one, I also lost my OBGYN that was taking great care of me throughout my entire pregnancy. After losing him, I had to find someone else to go to. And I remembered that I went to an OBGYN when I was younger. And so I thought, because they were in the same network, that I could just reach out, possibly schedule an appointment, and get taken care of by him. I didn't think it would be that big of a deal, and I remember liking him when I was younger, and so I just thought this would be a great, opportunity to be able to get taken care of by someone that I'm familiar with, and I made an appointment. So after I made the appointment, which was already kind of iffy, because I remember when I called the office, they were confused as to why I was trying to come back. And I had told them the same thing I just explained to you all, that I lost my OBGYN that was taking care of me, and I was just looking to come back to someone that I was familiar with to take care of me from this point forward. So when I arrived to the appointment, I had to fill out the routine paperwork that they have you fill out when you are a new patient. So I guess because of the time lapse, I was considered a new patient. They wanted updated information, which makes sense. That's perfectly fine and normal. So I filled that out, and then I remember when I got called into the room. And at the time, I had my daughter with me. And at this point, she was 7 months old. So I remember being called in the room, and the nurse asked why I was there. Why are you here today? What brings you in? And so I told her, I'm here because I lost my OBGYN that was taking care of me throughout my entire pregnancy. And so I need someone to report to look after me, or if you don't know. After having a child, you do have to go in for routine checkups to get a pap smear or whatever. They just want to make sure that you're doing well. And because I had a cesarean, a C-section, I did go in also to make sure that I was healing well from my surgery. So I told her, I explained that to her, and then the doctor came in, and he was so unpleasant, very unpleasant. And he was pretty much very confused and telling me that I was wrong, that I need to call my insurance company and go back to where I was, because he is in the same network and he knows that he accepts my insurance. And I'm sitting here looking at him like, do you think I didn't do that? Like, don't insult my intelligence. I did my due diligence. I didn't want to come here either. Like, I wasn't looking for a new OBGYN to go to. I was simply just trying to get taken care of. That's all. I'm just trying to get taken care of. So he tells me, like, you need to go back. Whoever told you that, I'll get them fired. He was just so unpleasant. So unpleasant. And it was so discouraging for me. And I really didn't even want to go through with the appointment at this point, because who wants to be taken care of by someone who's coming at them like that, you know? So I stayed. We continued the appointment. And then they asked this question that any mother knows they get asked. When was your last menstrual cycle? So, one of the benefits about exclusively breastfeeding, which I had done up until this point, my daughter again was 7 months, so I had breastfed her exclusively for 7 months, and specifically on-demand feeding, which means that I'm latching her onto me. I didn't do much pumping into bottles. She didn't bottle feed unless she wasn't with me. And because I work from home, she's always with me. So I'm saying that to say, like, she was always on me if she was feeding, and this had been the case for the first 7 months. So when they asked me that question, I told them I hadn't gotten a menstrual since before realizing that I was pregnant. Like, I had not gotten a menstrual. And so the OBGYN was concerned with this news, and he told me that he had never had a patient who had went this long without getting their menstrual cycle back. And I explained to him that I was exclusively breastfeeding, and I had heard many stories of women who don't get their menstrual cycles for at least the first year of their child's life. So while he was so stunned, I was looking at him confused, like, why is this news to you? Then this man tells me, you may have a brain tumor. So I want to schedule you to go and get an MRI scan of your brain, because this is not normal. You should have received your menstrual regardless of the fact that you were exclusively breastfeeding. And I want you to come back with the results. He also had me get some blood work or something. Now, isn't that crazy? First of all, I was so taken back. I'm like, hold on. I know too many women and mothers who have exclusively breastfed, and you sit up here telling me I can have a tumor because I haven't had my menstrual? I was pissed. And he also insulted my intelligence and told me that he had been a doctor for 20 plus years and that I don't know what I'm talking about because he's been doing this, and that was that. And so after this appointment, I called my husband. I was so upset. I'm like, honey, this man has told me this, like, he is crazy. I want to find someone else to go to. What do you think? I've never heard of this. I've never heard a woman say that there was speculation of a brain tumor, because I was going on and on and on. I was so upset. So upset. So I will say one thing about motherhood is it brings you to a place in yourself where you will seek counsel from other mothers so easily. Like, I have a community of women around me, and some are mothers, some are not. And I had to lean strong on my community because I was so confused and frustrated, and I was not accepting what he said to me. I was not accepting that. So I spoke to another mother friend, another mommy friend that I know, and I asked if she had heard of this type of diagnosis, or like if this was something that she was familiar with. And prior to like having Rayleigh, I would talk to her about being pregnant and pregnancy and breastfeeding and all those things. So that's why I went to her, because she was a breastfeeding mom, and she would just share different points of her breastfeeding journey with me. And so I felt comfortable to be like, this is what I was told. Have you heard about this? Or are you familiar with this? Or whatever like that. So she got back to me and told me she had never heard of this craziness. She had never heard of no nonsense like this. And so she was like, let me hit up my doula and see what she has to say about it. And she came back with a wonderful resource that I am definitely going to link for you down below, because this resource was what allowed me a peace of mind while I was in the midst of trying to figure out what was going on. So I emailed a question to Dr. Newman of the International Breastfeeding Center. And my question was simply, hey, I've been exclusively latching my child on for the past 7 months. And I recently went to an appointment with my OBGYN. And he told me, because of the delay in my menstrual returning, that I may have a brain tumor. So is this accurate, pretty much? And when you go on the site, if you choose to visit, you'll see that, again, it's International Breastfeeding Center. So there are plenty of articles, plenty of resources, and this wonderful tool that will allow you to ask Dr. Newman directly a question regarding whatever it is about your breastfeeding journey. So I sent my email. I waited for a response, and his response was heavenly. It truly was. So he told me that I had nothing to worry about, that it was common for a woman's menstrual to be delayed after exclusively breastfeeding up to the point that I had and longer. He also shared with me some more statistics, and he also told me that I should purchase his book on breastfeeding and all of its wonder, and give it to my OBGYN so he could be more informed. So that made me laugh, because I knew he was tripping. Like, I knew I was not tripping. I knew I wasn't. It was like so crazy to me. So I was happy about that, but I still was stuck with his OBGYN. So again, as I mentioned earlier, he insisted that I get an MRI scan of my brain, and I was just so over it, but I did attempt to do so. So I went, I scheduled an appointment with the MRI department, and I got all suited and booted. And mind you, I've never gotten into a body scan or anything like that. So this was all a new experience for me. And when I got in there, I had shared with the woman who took like some blood from me, you know, what was going on. And she was confused, like, I don't know, but I hope nothing is wrong with you, and I'm wishing you the best. And I'm just like, yeah, nothing's wrong with me. Nothing is wrong with me. I'm just doing what he asked me to do. And I got to the point of entering the room with the scanner, and the doctor who was going to be looking at my brain, and then the actual technician that was going to be operating the machinery, told me that if I hadn't pumped for that day, that I wouldn't be able to feed Rayleigh that day, because there was going to be some type of, I forgot what it was called, but something was going to be injected into my bloodstream that was not safe for, well, they didn't say it wasn't safe, but they just said that there hasn't been any negative effects of a child that drinks milk with this substance in it, but they did tell me that they would recommend that I pump and dump for the rest of the day. And again, as I stated earlier, I don't pump, or I didn't pump back then often. So what was she gonna eat? That was the reason why I did not get the scan. After I left there, I told my husband, I'm never going through that whole process again. That was a waste of time. Nothing is wrong with me. And what I'm going to do is find a new OBGYN to go to and get a second opinion. Let me also state that amongst my frustration, and I told you that I reached out to a mother in my community that I sought out, for help and resources. I also did my own research when I got home, and pretty much, let me share with you what that research was. So he told me that I had hyperprolactinemia. It can be caused by hypothyroidism, amongst other things, but this is the one that was related to me and my situation. So this hypothyroidism can cause an enlargement of the pituitary gland, which is treatable with thyroid hormone replacement therapy. Pituitary tumors are non-cancerous and do not spread beyond the skull. Symptoms are changes in your menstrual cycle. So what he thought he was talking about, it's not that it isn't valid, but it just wasn't accurate in what my situation was. So it did not pertain to me and what I was going through and doing. So I just wanted to share that information, because one thing about me sharing this story with you is there are different situations that you may face that can cause you to question your common sense. And the best thing you can do is do your own research and do your due diligence in finding out what the label, what was thrown at you. Like, what is it? It's best to find your own understanding, seek knowledge, seek resources. Like, that is the whole point of my video today, is to tell you, like, no matter what you are faced with, no matter what circumstance you are challenged by, to make sure you do your due diligence, do your research, find some resources, seek knowledge and understanding. Because had I just gone with what he said, like, it would have been a waste of my time. It would have been a complete waste of my time, because again, there's nothing wrong with me. So that's what it was. He had told me I might have hyperprolactinemia. Okay, so after leaving from that MRI appointment, I just went on my app for my insurance, and I looked for a new OBGYN, and what I found was a woman. So I was looking for women. I'm like, I need someone who has either had a child or something. I was looking for a mama, really, though. Because I'm like, hopefully she breastfed so she could be like, girl, you're fine. So I found this woman who no longer delivers babies. So she's not an OBGYN. She's just a GYN, a gynecologist. So I found her, made an appointment with her office, told them what was going on. They were so pleasant, unlike the other experience in the other office that I had dealt with prior to going here. And I made my appointment and walked in, got into the room, told her what was going on, and she looked at me and said, I am so sorry. I am so sorry that you have had to go through all of this just to hear that there's nothing wrong with you. She said, now, let's say if it was 2 or 3 years in and you still hadn't gotten a menstrual, I would be concerned. But at this point, I'm not concerned. And you are welcome to get dressed and go home. And again, I'm sorry that you've been given the runaround, but you're fine. Music to my ears, what I already knew, like, I'm good. I'm good. It's just that I'm breastfeeding my baby. Like, I am fine, sir. So, that is the end of the story, y'all. I was so relieved. I just wanted to hear the words come out of a professional's mouth. What I already felt in myself and in my spirit, that I was fine. I just wanted, again, a second opinion. And that's what I got. So, again, I'm sharing this because I want you, as a mother, as a woman, as a person, when anything is thrown at you, a circumstance, a diagnosis, whatever, do your due diligence. If you pray. Do your research. Lean on your community for resources like I did when I found Dr. Newman. It's okay not to accept every little thing that's given to you by someone that has a degree or, you know, whatever, like is highly esteemed as whatever their title is. You don't have to accept it. You don't have to settle. It's okay to challenge what may come at you. So that is my story time. I just remember being so frustrated, and when I'm frustrated and confused, I seek knowledge. That's how I process information. That's how I process things. I used to react emotionally, which I do still initially. But after that, I'm like, okay, let me find out, what is this really? What is this hyperprolactinemia? What does that mean? I don't even know. You know, like I went online, was looking up all these definitions. That's how I was able to break it down to you. I will also list that in the description box as well, just in case another mother can relate to this. And they're like, yeah, I just heard, or I was just told. Like, do your research. So that's the end of my story. That's the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I definitely enjoyed sharing it with you. Again, make sure you subscribe to our channel. We have new uploads every Thursday. Make sure you like this video, smash that thumbs up button, and comment down below. If there's anything you want to hear me talk about, please leave it in the comments. I would love to create content based on what you want to hear. Again, my name is Rosie, and this is My Mayhem. See you next time.